Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of EVE Online and my industrial tune adventures. Last time we had run back, we had sold our Veldspar and basically made our return on investment, or ROI, and the ship has now paid itself off, and the upgrades, after a little bit more mining, have also paid for themselves. So another two mills sitting here, and I mean that's just very minimal mining. I did it on my lunch break, and while I was at work today, and then I came back later on, and here I am. So yeah, a couple of things have changed, and I want to show a couple of differences here. So we are now with our tier 2 miners, so we are now mining 2.8 meters per second times 2, or cubic meters per second, which is awesome. Our ship is now worth 2.1 million, and just to kind of show the difference here, if we wanted to see what type of difference we have, we'll put our we'll put the meta miners back in, and we were sitting at 2.3 on each, and then as you saw, 2.8. So that 0.3 or that 0.5 difference actually makes a huge difference when you're out there mining. I noticed that I'm making trips back to the station more often to drop what I've mined. So yeah, so today we're actually going to talk about goals. It's actually very important when you're doing industrial work to make sure that you set your goals, because there's a lot of idle time to do things, and sometimes you do like I do, and you start to venture into other things and then lose track of your goals, and before you know it, you've fallen behind on your industry projects. So definitely set your goals. And one of the goals that we've had was again using our upgrades, right? So right now, while I have my tier 2 miners, I'm not able to use my tier 2 mining laser upgrade, and the reason being, if we go into our inventory here and right click, go to show info, and do requirements, you see that I need mining upgrades 4 before I can use it. And while it's queued up, it's 3 days 10 hours before I get it. So this is gonna take a little while. And just so everybody knows, while I have other tunes, this tune is not being supported by my other accounts. So I want this tune to do everything on its own, just for the sake of the whole new bro experience that someone may encounter. So, right. And going into our goals, you can see that our goals of training certain things to get better at what we're doing. So mining frigate, again, gives me 5% mining yield per level, so this is very important. Light drone operation, again, gives me damage so that I can survive things. And then here's our mining upgrade. So I'm really pushing to get to here, so I can use my tier 2 mining upgrade, because that's just going to help things so much more. And then of course I want to get to mining frigate number 5, because once I get to there, we can train into mining barge. And of course, this gotta do astrology, gotta do that. I don't even know what that actually does. Oh, again, so we definitely want to get this queued up. How much does it cost? Another minor skill. We definitely get this queued up and add it to our goals that we want to accomplish. And we're going to go ahead and train all 5 levels there. And now if we go into here, we should see Astrology 5. So again, we got a little bit of time to go. So again, I said how I'm not going to support my tune, but we do have our daily login rewards. That gives us certain gifts, and I just finished the login streak for the gala event. So I actually do have quite a few gifts to burn through, and one of them is this, and I'm going to use this. And we're going to try and get our tier 2 mining upgrade. So 201, and we're going to do mining upgrades 4, and we're going to apply skill points and see if we have enough. We do 149020. Okay. And now that is done, and we can go ahead and upgrade our ship. And that pushes me into 2.9. What seems like a very minor increase. I mean, is quite a bit. So let's do 173 per cycle to 166. So it seems like a minimal upgrade, but that compounds with as we continue on our mining frigate training. Continuing on with the subject of goals that I would want to probably include are, if you're going for industrial, what do you plan on building? What's going to be your specialization? Are you going to specialize in, or what faction specialty are you going to have? Because each one has a different set of like a different set of skills that you need to train into. So which one are you going to train first? For me, I'm probably going to do Galante, because even though I'm a Mar, or not a Mar, Minmatar, even though I'm Minmatar, I'm probably going to go Galante, because that opens up my ability to do not only Galante tech, but also, I guess I better launch the drones right away. And hopefully I don't die here. But I can also then do ore, right? So I can make mining ships and stuff like that, which is super useful. See if they actually start to hit me. If I need to worry if I'm going to die or not. Oh. I guess, yeah, the importance of your drone skills, being able to kill these things off before they can kill you. Yeah, so industry skills, and also like the progression that you're going to go through. So, a lot of people will say, "Oh, I'm going to do ammo," because ammo is a big thing. It's expendable, which means people use it, and then it needs to be replaced. Drones, again, a lot of people you lose their drones, so drones are a good pick. Rigs aren't so much something you're going to do as a normal industry player. You may end up doing that if you go into doing missions, because then you can salvage ships, and that's where rigs come from. And then the biggest money, obviously, but also the biggest investment is going to be ships. The blueprints for ships are sometimes ridiculous. The invention sometimes requires... Man, this guy needs to die. Put me in armor. So yeah, ships are, and then sometimes your invention runs require augmentation just to get the most bang for your buck. So there's a lot of money that you have to invest into it to make money out of it. Other goals would be, I would say, corporation goals. So, do you want to be your own CEO, or do you want to get into a specific corporation that has the same goals that you do, which is something I kind of want to do with this tune. I want to get into an industrial corporation and see what it's all about. I've always been in corporations and have just kind of done my own thing, but I'd like to see if there was like industry with like corporation goals, like, hey, we're all gonna go do this mining and make money for the corporation, or something along those lines. Or you could just join a huge like a huge corporation and just do your own thing and just be another number. There's also the ability to do that. And then there's also, of course, like Eve goals to have. Where do you want to end up? What do you want to operate strictly in high sec? Do you want to dabble in high sec, low sec? Do you want to move to a null sec or a wormhole? All of those are valid. Me personally, I love null sec. I love the thrill that I get out of it. I make a lot of ISK in null sec because I build things from the ground up. That's where I have my most fun. But again, I do have a high level, or a high sec mission runner that runs level 4 missions solo. We'll also do fleets, and then I'll also do the burner missions and everything like that. So I'm all suited up to make a pretty decent amount of money just doing that. So those are definitely some goals I think every EVE player should have, and trying to stay focused on those goals is not easy. There's just so much to do in this game, and one of the mistakes that I made with my first tune was he's a jack of all trades and master of none. He can do just about everything in the game decently, but nothing very specific. He's a very good mission runner. He's a very good null ratter. He's a very good industrialist. He's a very good PvP. I don't want to say very good PvPer. I'm absolute suck at PvP. At least solo PvP, I'm very good. I want to say I'm very good in fleets, listening to FC, getting where I need to be, and not being out of place so I don't end up with a red kill board. But other than that, I mean, I'm just not good at all the micromanaging that you need to do with PvP, I guess. And I get too anxious, and I make a lot of mistakes. So I avoid PvP as much as I can. I think that's pretty much the extent of the goals section that I wanted to go over. I will say that again, the goals for this tune specifically is to just run in industry. I will probably only take her through ammo, but I may take her through drones and modules as well, because we'll have to go through all the components that you need to do for tier 2. Tier 1 isn't so bad. You just need minerals, which you'll get from mining the high sec minerals, and then for your pyrite and I forget what the other one is. Hopefully we'll get into a corporation that has moons, and we'll get a lot of like R8 moon goo. So that's like your silicates, your atmospheric gases, your evaporates. You'll get all of those, which make decent money. But you'll also get the minerals that you need to do your tier 1 builds. Tier 1 doesn't make a whole lot of money. Everybody's doing tier 1, but if you do it right and work the market correctly, you should be able to make a decent amount of money. Alright, I think I'll make this a short episode, because that pretty much just goes over the goals that you need to have. Maybe not. One of the other goals would probably be an ISK on hand goal versus an assets goal versus a total assets. I love seeing, a nice fat bankroll, which is something that I have on my main tune. I have a decent bankroll, but I have 4 bill on hand, but my net worth is closer to like 50 bill. So I have a lot of assets spread throughout Eve, and if I were to liquidate all that, I'd be space rich. But what can I do then? I would have no ships to do anything, and I made a lot of mistakes along the way getting to that point. I have some ships that I'll probably never use. I bought a ship to do incursions and never used it. I flew it to an incursion station once, and then the incursion despawned, and I never took the chance to relocate because I started working on some other things. So that was probably a 1.5 bill purchase that has not made its return on investment. But I will say that's one of the things that I have done that has helped me, is treating everything like an investment, right? Every single ship that I buy, it needs to make me this. This is how much I spent on it. This is how much I need to make before I am back in profit. And that's how I look at every single purchase, right? Just like you saw me do with this ship. I figured out how much I needed to mine to make that money back. And we did it. It's a very, very short amount of time. And with the right skills, with mining, it does not take very long. I bought a skiff, and I have very good mining skills on my main, or on my main mining tune. I bought a skiff, 200 mil, and I made that back in 3 days of just casual mining. I mean, cap issues here. Thought it was good on cap. I'm missing something. It should be cap stable. Weird. Every time my laser cycle, I go into get the capacitor warning. Just must be right on that cusp. So let's see if it does it again. I mean, it's recharging. It just dipped because of the shield hardener recycling. We're going to go over, but once I fill up here, we're going to go over another reason why I prefer to use a POS or player-owned structure versus the station, and you'll see that in just a second. Only just a couple more cycles here. We should be good to go. I will go over the mining rocks, right? So if we look at the Veldspar, we see that there's 3 different types. Well, you don't, yeah, there's 3 different types. So there's Veldspar, and this is just your base mineral. Do a show info, you can see, okay, gives us titanium. You can see how much you get per reprocessing cycle if you have 100% skills, right? No, so if you're able to reprocess this at 100% reprocessing, you'll get 400 units. Typically, depending on how the station is rigged, you'll get, I think I get like 85 for ore on a rigged station that we have in Knoll, which isn't bad. So that's, you can figure out how much you're going to get per cycle just by taking this number and dividing it by whatever your reprocessing skill is. Right now it's like, for me, 50%. So I have a little bit of work to go. And again, I'd say I have 85%, but that's again my tune that is good at everything, decent at everything, and master of nothing. My jack of all trades. So obviously people are like, oh my god, they're only has 85%. We see people that have very, very close to 100. I don't know if I've ever seen anybody with 100%. I don't know if it's possible in game. But yeah, I would say I have okay reprocessing skills, at least to the point where my ore value, when I break it down, the reprocessed value is more than the raw ore value. So I'm going to take that as a win and say that my skills are decent enough. Alright, so this should be our last cycle. Recall drones, Shift R. We're going to pick our station first, and I just want to go over why. Let's see what this guy does. Oh, he's leaving. Alright, so we're done. We're just about full. I'm going to run off to the station here. And we're going to see why. Another reason why I like my player-owned structures as opposed to NPC stations. Well, here, we'll do this. Let's stop my ship. I don't want to dock just yet. So we land. I'm at just a little under 2K, and nothing's happening. Right? There's nothing going on here. Right? Okay. Well, that's a bummer. So let's go ahead and dock. Now I took a little bit of damage, we see that. Right click on your ship, get a repair quote, and if I were to repair this, it would cost me 4,752. Okay, not a big deal. Not a big deal because I'm in a frigate, right? You take a battleship in here with the same amount of damage, it's going to cost you 400,000. And that's that's a little bigger chunk of change. So now we're going to go to our player-owned station, or player-owned structure. And as long as it's not abandoned, as long as it has a core, as long as it's fueled, this works just fine. So we're going to go here. We're going to warp within 0 for now. Alright, so then we land, and as long as I don't have a PvP timer or an aggression timer or anything like that, I'm going to tether up, right? So now I'm tethered up. You cannot target me. Okay? So that's bonus number one. I can just warp in, no one can target me, and then you also get this nifty little repairing. So you're starting to see my repair go up, and that's all fine and dandy. Let's go ahead and land before I fill up all the way. And now if I do the get a repair quote, it says I'm damaged and it's 0 ISK for repair. So that is one of the main reasons why I use a player owned station. Besides, they usually have better facilities for what you need to do. In this case, we're processing. If I were to, let's drag this into here, restack everything and compress this, and then restack it. So if I were to, and actually let's see what our, so 2.75, we've almost pretty much paid for another ship again, right? Or maybe we have. No, 3 mil, right? So our ship is worth 3 mil. So we're basically almost at the ability to buy this ship again if we had to. But let's see what if I were to reprocess. So 50%. Yeah, so anyway, 50% gives me that. Let's see what it is. Oh, sorry. Reprocess, and it would cost me 16,413 ISK, right? So let's take this and let's take it to an NPC station that has reprocessing capabilities. So you want to go to services, reprocessing. Perfect. So that's where we're going to fly. Alright, so now if I were to take that same amount of ore and reprocess it, it's going to cost me 44,000. Still 50% mining yield. So at least this is the same, but this now costs me like 4 times as much, which is, or maybe 3 times as much, but still, you get the point. It's much better to do this stuff in a player-owned station. Disadvantages to a player-owned station. Sometimes those players are still working out their permissions, and you may drop something in that station, and they then lock you out. And then the only way to get your stuff back is to move it into asset safety, which then you have to wait 5 days before you can recover it, and it costs money. It costs to recover it, and if you don't recover it in 5 days, if you don't recover it after 20 days, I should say, then it gets moved to an automatic station, and then you pay more to recover it. So that's a bit of a bummer when that happens. Also, if someone blows the station up, then all your stuff goes into asset safety, and then eventually gets moved to a station that you then have to pay to recover that, recover those items from. Which again sucks, because that has happened to me. I had some stuff in a station. I went on a hiatus, and I came back, and someone had blown that station up or unanchored it. I don't know which it was. And then I had to pay quite a bit of money to get my stuff out of asset safety so I could mine again. And it was a procurer, it was my nemesis, it was my deep space transport, and my, I don't know, there's other things that were there too, like modules and things like that. It ended up costing almost 200 mil to recover because there was just so much stuff in there, and some of it was high valued stuff. So not fun when that happens. My advice is, if you're going to take an extended period of time off, make sure you go, especially if you're operating in high sec. This is obviously easier to do in high sec, but move your stuff to an NPC station. This way, if a station goes offline or whatever, you're not coming back to a world of pain. Nullsec is quite a bit harder because Nullsec will move it to basically the closest low-sec security system, and all of those systems, or at least the path to those systems, always seem to be extremely difficult to get through because they are camped. Yeah. I've heard some stories. I have not been subject to it yet. I hope I never am subject to it. Every time that I take a hiatus and I'm operating in nullsec, I find a way to get my stuff out, whether I use a logistics company or if I find some other route out. Luckily, most of the time I'm in a corporation that has jump freighter service, so I just throw my stuff in a courier route for them, because we have jump freighters that run from our ground control to our headquarters back to Jita. So luckily we're blessed in the ability to get things in and out as needed. But that does actually segue into goals. So obviously one of the goals that I had when I was picking out station to start in was a station that had a player-owned structure that I could use, right? And that's what I ended up getting. And here we are. We're in here again. I had mentioned that the system is not as quiet as I would like it to, but there are ice belts in this system, and that will then go into making money with ice. So that will be a lesson for another day, or a discussion for another day. I'm hopefully going to start getting these videos posted, and then we can and continue making videos, and then also taking suggestions for what I should do on other episodes. So until then, fly safe.